He's preached, he's asked them to listen, to spare them the harvest of those types of problems. To his credit, he tried to prevent the situations which he is confronted with every day, as you and I are confronted with those. So it's a credit to you, Judge Miller, that you did that in a proactive way. Something else that we all had an opportunity to read in the popular press a few days ago, a veterans court. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a veteran of the Vietnam War. Many of you are veterans. Many of you have sons and daughters who have served and are serving. War is hell. There is no question about that. And in the 21st century, the conflicts that we are engaged in are different than most any before. We are seeing that fewer than 2% amongst us defend the rest of us. And the rotations onto active duty and onto the battlefields far afield come about over and over again. And in this county of Blair and the surrounding areas has seen that very thing. The battalion from this county and the nearby communities just recently came back from Iraq. My son had the honor of leading that battalion. I can tell you, as we gather here today, they are on alert to go again, not to Iraq, but the next time to Afghanistan. This rapid rotation is not only hard on the veteran, but it's hard on his family. When the veteran comes back, oftentimes, not all, but oftentimes, there are residual problems. Judge Miller knows that. He has seen those who have served us and who have defended us come home, fall outside the law. And he knows, yes, you can throw the book at him. You can be hardcore. But he knows that it's best if there's a way to bring them back and to rehabilitate them. For obviously, they were one of our best citizens. They served and defended us. Again, Judge Miller suggested a veterans court. There aren't very many district judges in this Commonwealth, ladies and gentlemen, who are proactive and who are thinking, as Judge Miller, in the schools to prevent, a veterans court to help rehabilitate. If there are failures, Judge Miller has shown himself to expect people to live by the law, and he is adjudicated appropriately. But Judge Miller is also a deliberative person, which a judge should be. He's a contemplative person, and he's already shown that he wants to not only be a judge, but he wants to be a larger citizen, and to try to work with those of us in society to help those who need help, who still have the opportunity to be a good citizen. I want to share a story. Some years ago, I was a speaker out in Pittsburgh. I got there a bit early. It was about midday, and so I took a walk. I took a walk from the convention hall out to the point where the two great rivers, Monongahela and Allegheny, come together to form the Ohio. I was there by myself except for two other persons. Two young lads of school boy age, probably 7 or 8 years of age, were there too. And so I listened in on their boyhood conversation. They were just talking to themselves and paying no attention to me. They were watching the tugboats ply to and fro, up and down the rivers, tugging and pulling barges, the barges of industry. And those two young boys said to each other, they didn't think the tugboats looked so good. They weren't long and sleek like a Queen Mary. They weren't pretty at all. And they didn't sound so good. They just sort of chugged along. Putt, putt, putt. Those two boys said to themselves, they don't look good enough, and they don't sound good enough. And guess what those two boys did? They pledged to each other that they were going to become design engineers and make a prettier tugboat, one that sounded a lot better. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea whether those boys, as they grew up, became design engineers, but that's not the point. What is the point? The point is those two lads were looking at something that was a bit imperfect, and they wanted to make that imperfection more perfect. We have the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to elect a judge who will be a good judge. But he will also look at things in society that are a bit imperfect, and he wants to make them more perfect. You can't get a better person than Judge Miller for the next judge of the Court of Common Pleas in this great county of Blair. Thank you very much.
Thank you both for the kind words. I appreciate everybody coming today. It's a wonderful turnout. I got to admit, I kind of feel naked standing in front of you. Usually when I'm in a room with this many people, I have my robe on, so I feel like I just might have stepped out of the shower, so I apologize. A little out of my element. Welcome, and thank you for joining me on one of the most important days in my life. I am deeply honored by the kind remarks from distinguished businessman Fred Imler Sr. and former State Secretary of Agriculture and State Representative Sam Hayes Jr. Two men who have had a profound effect on my life and have served our community with distinction. When first appointed judge by former Governor Mark Schweiker over 10 years ago, I was asked by the Altoona Mirror why I sought the judgeship. As I stand before you today to announce for the Blair County Court of Common Pleas, my answer today is the same as it was many years ago. I want to serve this community that has given me so much. I am seeking the office of Blair County Judge to continue to have a positive impact on the families who live and work in Blair County. I have served as a district judge, an attorney, a teacher, a community volunteer. My years of service, my professional training, and judicial experience have given me the tools and the temperament to become your next Blair County Court of Common Pleas judge. I believe one of the most significant qualities I bring to the job is judicial experience. I am the judge for Northern Blair County, a position I have held for over 10 years. I have decided thousands of criminal and civil cases, from traffic offenses to homicide hearings, from contract disputes to the issuance of emergency protection from abuse orders. As a district judge, I work daily with the public, prosecutors, attorneys, law enforcement personnel, and victims. For more than 10 years, I have effectively managed a cost-efficient court that has handled over 30,000 cases. I have been an instructor in criminal justice at the Penn State Altoona campus, and currently I teach both civil and criminal law to future deputy sheriffs at the statewide Deputy Sheriff's Academy at the Pennsylvania State University. I was appointed by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to serve on the statewide Minor Judiciary Education Board. As a judge, I volunteer regularly to handle countywide drug sweeps and have served on the committee that helped open our recently established Blair County Central Booking Facility. A judge has an impact outside the courtroom as well. As we all know, alcohol and tobacco are considered gateway drugs that can lead to serious drug and alcohol addiction. As district judge, I established a community-based educational and counseling program for the youth of our community who are charged with alcohol and tobacco offenses. Since taking office over 10 years ago, I have required all juveniles and their parents to have a face-to-face meeting on all court matters except for traffic offenses. From day one, I have placed a major emphasis on addressing truancy problems in our local school districts. I regularly go into schools to speak to students. I believe firmly if we can positively impact the young people in our community early on, we may help them turn around inappropriate behaviors. I am actively involved in our community as a board member of the Kiwanis Club, as a board member and treasurer of the Northern Blair County Recreation Commission. I am a member of the Operation Our Town Roundtable of Northern Blair County, and I serve on the Blair County Criminal Justice Advisory Board. Most